In this lecture, we are going to be starting up our new Truffle project. Before we jump into this video, go to training.mammothinteractive.com. Here you can sign up for the Mammoth Unlimited membership and get access to all of the courses we've ever created. That's over 2,000 hours of content. We're going to be using Truffle to create our project, which consists of a Solidity contract to mint tokens with NFTs, and also a JavaScript front end. So the JavaScript actual site with HTML included. To get started, we will start a new Truffle project. So join me in your terminal application on Mac or your command prompt application on Windows, also commonly called the command line. This is an application included by default on your computer. And here is where we are going to create our project folder and as well install Truffle and start a new Truffle project. So I'm going to cd into my documents folder on my computer. Then I am going to create a new folder first to store my project with mkdir make directory. I'm going to call the project hello decentralized. Okay, then I'm going to hit enter to execute the command, and I'm going to cd into hello decentralized. Then can check where I am, and I can list out my contents with ls on Mac or dir on Windows. Now, currently we have nothing in the folder because we just created it. Alright, now inside of this project folder, I want to start a new NPM project. So that way I can add packages with NPM. To start a new NPM project, you use the command npm init. Now, of course, you have to have npm installed for this to work. Then you can hit enter through all of the metadata. And now if you list out your contents with ls or dir, you'll have a package.json file which consists of the metadata for the project. Alright, next we're going to install Truffle. For that we'll use npm again, and we'll use the command npm install Truffle. We're using version 5.4.11 in this course, and I recommend you use the same version because if you use a different version of Truffle, it can update and therefore have some changes. So you can try with a newer version, but if you find that there's some kind of difference or error, you may have to fix or change something in your newer Truffle version, or you can just use version 5.4.11. We're also going to save it in development mode. All right, then we'll hit enter and we'll wait a few minutes for Truffle to install. This can take a bit of time because Truffle is quite a big package. It also depends on a lot of other packages. So it's quite a large folder that is going to be added to our project. But it will be worth it, and then we can initialize our Truffle project. Great, and we have installed Truffle. Now you'll likely get a lot of vulnerabilities, so just do npm audit fix as npm is prompting you to. This will address issues and likely the vulnerabilities will go down. So let's run the command npm audit fix and allow some of the vulnerabilities to be fixed. Which ones can? Some of them cannot. And you don't have to worry about these for now. We can still build our project and have it running even if you do have some of these warning messages. You can fix these if you like, but it's just due to the nature of Truffle. Next, we can initiate a new Truffle project. So for that, I'm going to use my command npx truffle init. Now, we already used npm init to start a new npm project, and inside of that we are creating a new Truffle project. This is going to use Truffle to actually create some files. And you can see npm, or here the console is giving you some hints on how to get started, like with creating a contract and creating a test for the contract. If you list out your contents of the folder now with ls or dir, then you can see we now have a lot more files. We have contracts, migrations, node modules, package lock, package, test, and Truffle config. So let's take a look at these files. Here I've opened up my project folder, Hello Decentralized, in Visual Studio Code. Here I have my contracts folder first, which has a default contract, migrations.solidity, and this here is created by Truffle. So at the top we have the version of Solidity that the contract uses. So it can be compiled with a Solidity compiler that is greater than or equal to Solidity 0.4.22 and that is less than 0.9.0. Each time you create a Truffle project, this here Solidity version may change depending on how far in the future you are watching this tutorial. As of now, this is the Solidity version that can be used to compile this migrations contract created by Truffle. We'll also include the source files for you in this course if you want to just use the exact contracts that we used, because every time you do npx truffle init, you do get a new version of your project. But here, as long as your Solidity compiler falls in between this range, the contract will run. So we have our migrations contract, which has two fields, an owner and a last completed migration. We have a modifier restricted, which is going to say that a function is restricted to the owner of the contract. We also have one function set completed for when the migration is done. Now inside of the project folder, when we used npx truffle init, we also got a migrations folder with one initial migration. So here we're requiring our Solidity contract and we are calling the deployer to deploy the migrations contract. Then we have node modules. This contains all of the node modules that your project uses, and Truffle uses a lot of them. We have test, which is where we put any test that we want. We can move that around. You have package lock, which is just a locked version of package. Package.json here tells you the metadata of your project, like the name, the version, which you can edit, any script that you want to easily run, an author, a license, and a development dependencies. Here we have Truffle as our first development dependencies. And if you list more dependencies here, then you can call npm install inside of the project folder to install all of the dependencies at once. Then we finally have truffle-config. This is similar to package.json, but it's the metadata for the Truffle project within our project of npm. So we have module.exports, and here we have networks, which we will configure in order for us to actually launch the development on some kind of Ethereum network. And we'll set that up later. We have networks, we have more data. All this is currently commented out, but you can comment it, or you can comment it back in. So you can remove these comments if you want to actually put back in one of these groups. You have Mocha options, compiler options for Solidity. So here we have the Solidity compiler version being used by this Truffle project. Okay, then we have a Truffle database, and all of this is optional except for networks when you want to actually run the project, which we'll look at later. So that is an overview of the Truffle project that we created. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to go to training.mammoth.interactive.com. Here you can sign up for the Mammoth Unlimited membership, where you can get access to over 350 courses that we've created.